the Oklahoma Sooners did make a bowl game. They lost it to Florida State. They were 6-7 in 2023. Yet we have all identified the Sooners as a potential turnaround candidate. So what do we like about Oklahoma heading into next season that could have them set for? To me, I listed them thinking that 10-2 is the expectation, that 11-1 is a real possibility, and I would not bet on 12-0, but I am not ruling it out either.
I'm a big fan of the idea that big jumps happen in year 2 with coaches. Now, in recent years, some of the COVID stuff I think has screwed up this timeline, but now we should be relatively back to normal. Nick Saban played for the national, or won the national title in his second. No, he that was the undefeated year, right? Where they lost to Florida in 08. Yeah, because that was Florida's last year, but at least he had probably the second best team in the country that year. They were undefeated, lost the SEC title game. Urban Meyer won in his second year at Florida, and I think also his second year at Ohio State.
That is correct.
Or went undefeated.
No, he went. I think he went undefeated year 1, but they were ineligible for the postseason, and then they won the national title. They took an L in the regular season. Remember, entered as the 4 seed, jumping over Baylor and TCU to make the playoff.
Kirby Smart played for the national title in year 2, losing on the Tua play, I think it was. Does that sound right? So was that the Tua game?
It might have been. I can't remember.
You might have one more year, but it's his first year was either 15 or 16. The title being the runner up was in 17.
He definitely had a crazy jump in year 2.
From 6-6 to be competing for the conference title.
So I'm a believer in the year 2 thing. Still, if you're a really good coach, we'll probably know it in year 2 if some of the dominoes can line up for you to fall. Now, I have some questions about Oklahoma. They do lose both their offensive tackles to the draft, and both are expected to be decent draft picks, which is concerning. That's always a concern of mine. But I think there are some things in terms of defensive improvement you can look for from this team. Getting Dylan Gabriel back, keeping Jeff Lebby on the staff are also positives to me in this category. I think the receivers could take a step forward. We talked about that on the Monday show, and the schedule is fairly manageable, right? Arkansas, SMU in the non-conference, and there's one more that I'm probably missing here. You get TCU at home. You got to go to BYU, which is tough. West Virginia at home. I don't know what to make of Oklahoma State and Kansas right now. Red River will be tough. You get Iowa State at home if you think they'll be plucky. Cincinnati loses a lot, and they get them early in the first year of Satterfield. So I could see 12-0.
Yeah, I'm a massive hypocrite in terms of citing this statistic and then also trying to explain it away with intangible variables and vibes. But Oklahoma went 0-5 in 1-score games.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't that far from this team winning a whole lot more games. Now, again, as I criticize Texas and Steve Sarkisian, it's like, well, why do you keep coming up short, huh? Is it a reflection of your coaching staff? Is it a reflection of all these other things? The math nerds out there will tell me that is where you like turnover luck, bad luck in 1-score games. The ball is shaped funny. There are strange bounces. There are unique calls. It is unlikely that Oklahoma is going to go 0-5 in 1-score games. You throw in the return of the quarterback, a little bit of continuity, what I'm expecting out of the offense, as Bud just mentioned. And I was like, this is all of the recipe for Oklahoma to be able to make a big jump, probably playing for the conference title on the first Saturday in December.
Also, they should not be playing 5 1-score games against the schedule. If they make a big jump, they should be playing 2 or 3 1-score games, and every other game on the schedule should be a 2 or 3 score win.
I mean, let's be real. We've always been a big Oklahoma podcast. We've never had anything negative to say about Oklahoma. So it's no surprise that we have them on our list. But for me, honest, there's a ton of good reasons that we could go in minute detail on. But the biggest reason for me why I expect Oklahoma to be a turnaround team is because Oklahoma's good. And it has been good. When we talk about the other teams we've talked about, like Texas A&M, Miami, these are programs that it's every year it's is the year where they're going to, restore themselves and be good again. Oklahoma was very good for a long time and had a down year. So for me, just based on history, last year is far more likely to prove to be an outlier than just a new trend. Now, that doesn't mean it can't be, because we've seen a coaching change and sometimes you see stuff like that happen. But just based on what Oklahoma's been, a team that's been to the college football playoff multiple times, won a bunch of Big 12 titles, I don't think it's crazy to think that they can go from 6-7 to 10-2, 11-1, 12-0, just because they've done it many times already.
I agree. You're not asking them to take a leap where they haven't been. We're asking them to get back to their 5-year average.
Yeah, go back to you.